My wife and I, ever since the moment we got married, we wanted to help little boys and little girls who couldn't help themselves. Adoption is such a big deal at Northroad because it's always been a big deal to us. 2006, we got the opportunity to adopt from China. We thought we were going to have a little girl, and we started all of the things that a parent does. We bought the clothes, we filled out the paperwork, we waited and we waited and we waited, but it never happened. In order to be ready for a marathon, you don't just walk up to the starting line. You go through a rigorous detail of opportunity until the moment comes when you're ready to shine. And we thought that our window was over. Little did we know, God was still training us. I always said to God, there's no way we're fostering a child. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to let a little boy or a little girl go into my home. I fall madly in love with them and then send them somewhere else wondering if they're okay. But that's what God wanted us to do. And as we prayed about it, we signed up for classes and we started down this road called foster care. One day we get the call. There's a little boy. His name is Isaac. He was just born addicted to 5 drugs: meth, heroin, Vicodin, marijuana, and cocaine. His mom and dad are lifetime users. They've used since they were 12. Because of their drug use, they haven't had electric or water. There's a hole the size of a basketball in the side of the trailer. They're so high most of the time. They have a room specifically set up for the dog to go to the bathroom in so they don't have to go out. My heart broke at the idea that he would live one day in that room. So my wife and I answered the call and we fostered little Isaac. 22 months into that story, God allowed us to adopt Isaac. It was one of the most amazing days of my life. I felt such peace because I had taken care of the hole that was going to be in his life. And that night I walked across the threshold of his bedroom door and I realized something really profound. I was taking care of the cultural hole in Isaac's life, but I wasn't taking care of the spiritual one yet. You see, a cultural hole is something that affects us in our life while we're here. A spiritual hole is something that if we don't fix it, hell's in our future. And every night as I walked across the threshold of that little boy's room, I would pray and pray and pray that he would know Jesus. It was about 3 months ago that Isaac, at the age of 8, gave his life to Christ. Not only had we filled his cultural hole, but now we had brought the fulfillment that would cover the spiritual void that would come if he never knew God. Northroad Church, let me ask you a question. Can you imagine if we met the needs of the orphan, if we met the needs of the widow, but in addition to, if we got serious and said, I want to see a community where there's more people that know Jesus than don't. We are starting a movement right now in Northroad Church called Orphans No More. If we are really going to accomplish what God wants us to accomplish in the life of people, it's not just about their cultural hole. It's about the spiritual one. That spiritual void that lives within them because they don't know God. With this movement we're doing called Orphans No More, we have some goals. We want to see 5,000 people enter the doors of Northroad over the next 5 to 10 years. Out of those 5,000 people, we want to start 100 churches all around Moscow, Troy, Wentzville, Eolia, Wright City, Warrenton, St. Charles, you name the place. We are going to start as many churches as we can because our job is to fill the spiritual hole in people's lives that don't have God. I think back to Isaac's life and that hole in the trailer. 2 weeks ago, we're on vacation. We are driving to the middle of nowhere to get where we're going. And Isaac, he says, Dad, are we there yet? And I see this trailer to the left. It looks run down. Nobody's living there. And as a joke, I say to him, I said, yep, we're here. There's the house. And he looks at me and he goes, no way, I'm not staying in that. And in that moment, this rush of emotions came over me because I realized he doesn't know what he was destined for. And God had taken his life full circle. We have a huge opportunity in Northroad Church to say, orphans no more. We need to pull out all the stops. We have to start thinking differently. We have to start functioning differently. We have to start sacrificing differently. We have to start strategizing differently. And we have to get ready to do something God-sized. You see, God gave us a passion for orphans. We have trained for this moment. We're ready to run that marathon. And my question is, are you going to run it with me and say, orphans no more?